Hey everybody, Scott from Advanced Course Academy Online, and welcome back. Today, what I want to talk to you about is just one quick tip how to grow your business faster, basically by accessing experts, even celebrities in your own field. And these people who had previously seemed maybe inaccessible, I want to show you how to access these people, how to either get them to promote your stuff for you, which is one of the outcomes that I enjoy, that getting to know these people that I previously had no relationship with, or getting to meet these people, taking pictures with them, interviewing them, to basically to add value to your audience or market as well. And so one person I wanted to talk to you about was Jack DeLuca, basically founder of The Entourage, most successful guy in Australia under 30. He's been on the BRW Rich List for such a long time. He's the author of several books, one that I just bought. Here's a picture called Unwritten. And here's just some footage of him, just so you can hear a little bit about something he's achieved recently.
We've got people, myself included, 5 different speakers who have built companies with a combined value of over $6 billion.
Good, and so with that, you can see that there's this event that I went to recently called the Unconvention, where there's Jack DeLuca on stage. He's talking to so many people. There's 1.5 thousand people in the audience, and there's so many people after the event that they're going to go onto Facebook and hit the the friends button for Jack to see if he will friend you back. And so it's kind of, in a way, a little bit lame that he's going to just get so many friend requests that it's not really cool for him. He's going to be inundated with just friend requests. It's not really the best that you can do is just to go online and just like click a button and say, that was me, that was the end of my work, trying to get to know him. Check this out. So there's some footage of me and him together. So there's where I'm interviewing him, and then as you can see, then I open up for the hug, he opens up, we hug, and I interview him. And it was a brilliant interview where he then opened up talking about his work that he's done with Richard Branson with me. And so what I found is that my way of getting to know him without any previous business relationship is that I had to be patient, but I also had to ask high quality questions. And so I was talking to him about promoting his book to my list, which is an offer that I made to him. And so before talking about basically my 3-step process, how do you get to see these experts and either, if not do business with them, at least get to interview them as a minimum, that I had to do something which was of high value, that I can't just go in there and demand that he does an interview with me, or I can't just go in there and demand that, that he's going to do all the heavy lifting. So I had to come in a professional way, wait for the crowd of people that were around him to finish talking to him, and then he was such a great guy that he was willing to do a 2-minute phone interview with me. And so he got somebody that's working for him to hold the camera or hold my phone, and we just did a really, really cool interview. And again, so online, if I can just show you, he's got this thing online that he calls Ask Jack, which is a regular set of videos that he does. And so my way of getting to ask him questions, literally, he just had in the description, he said, please ask me a question that I haven't been asked before. So I started asking him some questions. My first one was about in business. How do you go bigger? And his answer was brilliant. So just before I play it, I just want to point out some things about his answer, is that it's not that he's saying that thinking small is something that you shouldn't do, or thinking small is something that's unimportant. He's just basically saying that most people don't go any higher than that. So he's encouraging you to go higher. Check out his answer.
Scott Lawrence says, hi Jack, welcome back. Thank you for doing this. 6 years into business, what are your top areas that we need to be aware of to go big in business? Scott, I think the first area you need to be aware of is your own thinking, right? And we just spoke about this in the last Q&A that we did. I'm going to show you guys the thinking model that I just walked everybody through on this live sort of interactive Q&A we just did before it came on this line. And the reason I say this is I've been involved in a few board meetings this last week, and each time the limiting factor is always the thinking of the entrepreneur, in that often they're not thinking high enough or broad enough to inform an overarching strategy, to inform all of the tactics. I think as entrepreneurs, our thinking needs to go everything from vision right up the top, which might be like a 10-year vision, to direction, which is 7 years, strategy, which is 3 years. Oh, this is probably backwards for you guys, isn't it? I wonder if I do this. Rosie, can you just hold that up for us? Strategy, which is 3 years, ops plan / project plan, 1 year, quarterly focus, obviously that happens quarterly, monthly objectives, monthly, weekly targets, and then today's to-dos. But what I find a lot of entrepreneurs do is their thinking is usually here on weekly targets. Sometimes they're thinking about monthly objectives. At best, they're thinking about quarterly focus. But often what you get in a dynamic of is trying to do way too much every single quarter, but everything that we're trying to do, there's no glue holding it together or no overarching directional purpose, because we're not yet clear on what the operational plan is, because we're not yet clear on what the 3-year strategy is or the 7-year direction. And so when you get a 3-year strategy and you start to get clear on that medium-term direction, that should inform what's going to be most critical for us to do in an operational project plan sense. And then that will inform what your quarterly focuses are. And you can't have too many quarterly focuses because there's only so much that you can do. That will inform what your monthly objectives become, which will inform your weekly targets, which will inform you what today's to-dos should be. But if you don't have... See, most entrepreneurs think from like here at best. Most entrepreneurs think from here down, right? And they stop there. Some entrepreneurs go to there. Great entrepreneurs go to there, right? And so all of this usually just exists in your mind. I only just drew it on a piece of paper to sort of get it out of my head to communicate it to everybody that was on the line in that last session. But what happens, the risk we run is that we get busy doing all of this sort of stuff on a quarterly basis, and we're doing all of these different isolated tactics that aren't brought together by any real strategy. So how do we know what we're supposed to be building if we don't know what we're building? How do we know if something's going to move us closer toward our ultimate objective if we don't know what it is, right? And so you absolutely need to know where are we going, and what's the path to get us there in strategy. And therefore, every single decision that we make thereafter is informed by, is it going to get us closer to that particular destination? And so I think that's the number one thing you need to be aware of to go big in business, is be aware of your own thinking, the limitations of your thinking, and make sure you're thinking about every single layer that was on that piece of paper. Scotty Lawrence, brilliant question.
Great. So as you can see, that what he's saying is that most people, they stop at that quarterly level, because we get told 12 weeks or 90 days or 3 months, which is, it's that quarterly thing. Have a vision for 3 months. And what he's saying is that you want to have an end game philosophy in your business, like that vision basically. So he's not saying that everything under it's not important. He's saying that most people then don't have a vision. And so in asking him questions, he's telling me that one of the most important things in business is to have a vision. And then again, like in this one, he's asking who's the most important person who's influenced me in my life. And I talked about Bruce Lee.
Guys, this is a really good question. I'm genuinely interested to know from your point of view in the comments below. Who was the most formative figure in your life? Was it a parent? Was it a teacher? Was it a mentor? Was it a figure that you studied, like a figure throughout history that you've since studied? Who was the most influential person to forming or helping you form into who you are today? In the comments below, do that now. Scott Lawrence says Bruce Lee. Scott, why Bruce Lee? What did you learn from him? Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, Scott, I thought that was the message that came to mind. Scott says Bruce Lee taught me how to be like water. This means to be not using force. Strategy is more important.
And then finally, in building a team, in order to put a team together, in order to have these interactions between people, I asked him basically, how do you lead a team? And he talks about authenticity at his answer. Check this out. It's just brilliant.
Scott Lawrence says, what's most important in leading a team? Charisma, knowing the needs, being smart, recruiting the right people, knowing their overall vision. Scott, the answer to that question is authenticity. The most important thing in leading a team, the most important thing in being a great entrepreneur, the most important thing in being a good marketer, good salesperson, good leader, good speaker, good friend, good partner, good parent, good son, good daughter, authenticity. And you can only be authentic to yourself when you know yourself. And so you need to take the time to explore yourself and study psychology and study human needs and study how you tick and study how you need to coach yourself and study the world and travel the world and try and get as many experiences as you can. And always just be, it's like, who was it? Know thyself. God, my quotes are often... No, Gandhi wasn't know thyself. Oh. Know thyself was someone else, but a wise guy. Said the fundamental premise to being a great person is to know thyself. So, Scott, that's the fundamental premise to leadership. And it's a little bit of what's the word? Dichotomy, right? In that the number one thing that enables you to lead others is to firstly know thyself so that you can lead yourself. Leadership to me is about resonance. It's not about tactics. It's not about manipulation. It's about, can people feel, do people resonate with you when you're talking about whatever it is that you guys are doing? If they think you're full of shit, then they'll pretend to agree with you and they'll leave and they won't move because it doesn't resonate with them. And it doesn't resonate with them because it's not authentic. So number one key is to be authentic.
And so you might find that with Jack, that in a way that he can speak very much from the heart, but also, and he might swear, but he'll be himself, basically. And so when he says authenticity, the resonance, again, he's not saying don't think through tactics. He wants you to think through the tactics, but he's really asking you to think about the relationships you have with people as, are you telling the truth? Are you being authentic? Are you being your genuine self? Because I've seen so many people that they will memorize a script and they'll run it on a camera, and it's just not them. So again, thank you, Jack, so much for letting me ask you these questions. And so right from the beginning, when I was telling you, how did I gain access to these people to ask them questions? Jack is not someone that I call on weekends. I can turn up to his event and ask him to interview me, for me to interview him. And if my approach is pleasant, he's such a great guy, he said yes. Also online, that when he was asking you to ask questions, when I gave him thoughtful questions, he gave me a thoughtful response. And so thank you, Jack, so much for doing that. And so that this is not a video to say that everybody should go bother him, if that makes sense. But yes, do ask him questions, do ask him thoughtful questions, but look for other experts in your field as well. Whereas I've got to ask people like Brendan Bouchard questions, I've been able to ask so many people that are basically celebrities in the field questions, because I'm bringing that vision of a higher quality question to them. And a lot of other people will feel that they don't have that access to their mentor or to the person that they would love to be mentored by, because they're just kind of either hanging around and not doing anything, or they're not bringing a really great, brilliant, high quality question that deserves a high quality response. So again, a link in the description to the Entourage. So anyone who doesn't know what the Entourage is, which is Jack Delos's company, it's brilliant. It's the biggest one basically for, are you going to become an entrepreneur? He's got the courses to learn. So I thought, instead of giving a link in the description for my stuff, it'd be fair, because I'm using Jack's answers, to give a link to Jack's company. So thank you again for watching, and thanks again, Jack, for the answers. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Scotty Lawrence says high five.